Yo, how's it going everyone? It's me, it's Jinsula. I hope you're having a good day. Welcome to today's Pokemon Go video. Currently, I'm parked in a parking lot because I'm waiting for a Registeel raid to get started. And yeah, Registeel is back in raid battles. It's definitely one of those Pokemon that you need to catch for a variety of different reasons. And today I'm going to be talking about how you could defeat it and catch it. So yeah. Let's actually do this raid, and in the meantime, I'm going to be telling you why this raid is so important. So first and foremost, I'm going to primal revert my Groudon so that I could use it for this raid. It's by far the best counter. I'll get into the counters in a bit, but yeah, Registeel is by far the best PvP Pokemon in the game. It's really good for the Great League. I actually think it's currently top ranked. And of course, it's really good for the Ultra League as well. It has very few counters and it has a very awesome moveset. And I have to tell you, having yourself a PvP ready Registeel is going to elevate your PvP gameplay. I really think even if you do not PvP, you should raid for this Pokemon. The reason why I say that is because when it comes to PvP, everyone is trying to get this Pokemon, and in order to get one that is PvP ready, you need to trade for it. So even if you're not interested in PvP and you never plan to use Registeel, you should try to get one so that you could trade with friends who are trying to PvP. And you're going to get yourself some really good Pokemon. It's one of those that I try to stock up on, mainly because when it comes to trades, a lot of people are always asking for it. And yeah, getting yourself a bunch of Registeels, especially the shiny form, is going to net you a lot of really good trades. Alright, so this is going down pretty quickly. You don't need too many trainers in order to defeat Registeel. It has a lot of very straightforward counters, considering that it is a pure steel type. Ground types and fire types are going to be really good against Registeel, and there's plenty of really good options. This is probably the best way to go against Registeel. You just want an army of Groudons and Primal Groudons. It's going to go down really quickly. Looks like my Groudon is about to get knocked out. Yep, there it goes. Then we pop in Reshiram. It's another really good fire type. Yeah, it's going down really quickly, which is good to see. There's only 4 people in the raid. All of these people are my Patreon supporters because I prioritize them when it comes to remote raid invites. If you're interested in that, go check out the links in the description below. That's how you can become a patron and raid with me. Yeah, these are very important raids. I think Registeel is one of those Pokemon that I think often gets overlooked by a lot of hardcore raiders, mainly because Registeel is not a raid relevant Pokemon. But I still find myself trying to raid as many of them as I can. I also like the shiny form. I think it has a really cool shiny. It's kind of like this lime green color. I think it's a very unique look, and it's very impressive when you use it in PvP. There we go. Registeel is done. Let's see. Ivies, I think those are pretty decent. Let's actually see if it's a shiny. There we go. Powering up some friendship, getting some rare candy and a rare candy XL. That's really good. XL candies are also very useful. All right, here we go. Let's see if it is a shiny. And it is not. But it does look really cool in that new background. The biomes are phenomenal. But let's try to catch it. Even if it is not a shiny and even if it is not a perfect IV, you still want to get as many of these as you can, because when you trade for it, you're going to get yourself some really good Pokemon. Come on. Let's see here. I'm also really bad at catches or throws lately. Registeel is actually a pretty easy one. Let's do the set circle trick. I don't know what I'm doing here, wasting balls. There we go, just waiting for it to attack. Yeah, it does look really cool in the new background. It's like, they did a really good job with these biomes. I think amongst all of the controversies related to the avatar customization updates, I think they did a really good job with the biomes. That's just my personal opinion, but yeah, this one's almost done. Come on now. Let's that attack animation, there we go. And oh my gosh, these throws are bad. I need to be hitting excellent curveballs every time. Otherwise, yeah, my chances of catching it are going to be extremely low. Like I said though, Registeel is supposed to be easy. You just want to throw the ball. There we go, right in the middle. You kind of want to like aim for their feet, like on a curve. Yep, there you go. See, one curveball, excellent throw, and it gets caught almost immediately. And I think that's not right. First day catch streak. I must have missed my first day catch streak yesterday. Oh boy, that's a real shame. Oh, yeah. That's not good. Alright, so as promised, let's go over the counters and all the details for Registeel. This Pokemon is very easy if you bring the right counters. It is a pure steel type, which means it's going to be weak against fire types, fighting types, and ground types, and it's also going to have a plethora of different resistances. So you will want to avoid bringing any Pokemon with the following moves: poison types, bug types, dragon types, fairy types, flying types, grass types, ice types, normal types, psychic types, rock types, and steel type attacks. Yeah, those are going to be very ineffective against Registeel, so avoid using those moves up against this raid boss. Now, if you're looking for perfect IVs, you will want one that is 1398, and if it's weather boosted, it's going to be 1748, and Registeel is weather boosted by snowy weather. In order to secure the win up against this raid boss, you will want to have 6 trainers that are at least level 30 with all their Pokemon being at least level 30, and then if you want to challenge yourself, you want 3 trainers that are at least level 40. Now let's go over the best counters. It's pretty straightforward. Primal Groudon is going to be king against Registeel. That is mainly because it is the highest DPS ground type in the game, and Registeel is weak against ground types. The next best option is of course going to be Mega Blaziken. It is a big glass cannon when it comes to fire type or fighting type raid damage, and you will definitely want to consider that if you do not have the energy to primal revert your Groudons. Now, in terms of the non-mega and non-primal reversion Pokemon, of course, Groudon is going to be king. And then some alternatives include Reshiram, Shadow Moltres, as well as Terrakion. Now, in terms of the budget counters, it's also pretty straightforward. Your best fighting types that are non-legendary are going to suffice. Shadow Machamp is something that many would consider not a budget counter, but it is still pretty easy to obtain, and it's also very easy to power up. So if you happen to have yourself some Shadow Machamps, those are definitely worth bringing up against this raid boss. You could also bring Chandelure, that is another really strong Pokemon, as well as Mamoswine with ground type attacks, and also consider Darmanitan. That's another very powerful Pokemon up against Registeel. So yeah, this raid boss is definitely worth raiding for, especially if you PvP, but even if you do not PvP, like I mentioned earlier, you will still want to get yourself a bunch of Registeels so that you could trade them with your friends. This is a very high valuable Pokemon in Pokemon Go for a lot of different reasons, but mainly for PvP. Unfortunately, Registeel is not a really good Pokemon for raid battles, so if that is the focus of your gameplay, then there is no pressure for you to get those 100% IVs. You just want to get a bunch of them regardless of IVs so that you could trade them with your friends who are looking for PvP IVs. And if you are someone who is PvPing, then you need to get yourself a bunch of Registeel so that you could mirror trade with other players in order to get those PvP IVs. Unfortunately, you cannot get a good PvP IV through raids alone, mainly because there is an IV floor and you want one that has less than 10 attack. But if you are lucky enough, you could possibly pick one up that's going to be good for PvP through trades, and the only way you could do that is of course by doing a whole bunch of Registeel raids. Alright, and that's going to be it for this video. Now let me know your thoughts regarding Registeel down below. Is this a Pokemon that you plan to raid for in order to get PvP IVs? Definitely share that in the comments and let's have a great discussion. And as always, thank you so much for making it to this point in the video. If you ended up enjoying it, make sure you hit that thumbs up button and subscribe if it's your first time here, and also don't forget that little bell so you can stay up to date on whenever I upload videos. And I want to give a quick shout out to all the patrons on Patreon. You make this channel content possible. If you want to raid with me like you saw earlier, then make sure you go and consider becoming a patron on my Patreon. For all my patrons, I add them to my Pokemon Go friends list, and I try to prioritize them for remote raids as well as the friendship system. So if you want to interact with me in Pokemon Go, then make sure you go and check out my Patreon. And if you want to support my channel in a different way, you can do so by following me on social media. My handle is @Jinsula, and I'm on the platforms that you see on screen. Make sure you go over there and give me a follow. Alright, and that's going to be it. I'm Jinsula. Be safe, have fun, love yourself. Catch you all later.